Simplifying a teacher's life, free technology tools for assessment. All tools presented here are free, and I focused on curating tools that collect data to inform teachers' instruction. This way you can spend your time planning and collaborating on instruction with your peers rather than grading assessments. The first tool I want to talk about is called Kahoot. Kahoot is a game show style activity that allows you to collect the response data from students using multiple types of devices. There are several benefits to Kahoot. It's very engaging. The students will fight over getting to play a Kahoot review. They love it. There's almost no setup for the teacher. You pretty much set it up, click, and go. Because there's no setup, the students are entering their own names. So the trade-off is, with no setup for the teacher of the class, students are entering their own names, and if they enter a name you don't know them by, you will not know to whom the resulting data correlates. So if they enter Unicorn 23 and you don't know who that is, your spreadsheet, you won't know those results. Also, speed is rewarded, which is what it's engaging to the students and what is kind of makes it a game. However, the speed does mean that, faster correct answers get more points than slower correct answers. So your students with IEPs, 504s, this might actually be frustrating for some students, perhaps. And if it were the only thing you used, it might not be good for test assessments when all you're trying to get is the right answer without speed. It's fun, but it might not be the best for that. All students do need a device. It does not have to be the same device. Any internet-capable device will work, and if it's a review game, I've had them pair up in BYOD and things like that, but whoever's playing does need a device or partner with a device. So when you talk about Kahoot, all they're going to do is go just to the internet to kahoot.it. This is the student, goes to kahoot.it on any internet capable device and enter the game pin that you're projecting at the front of the room. There'll be a pin or a code they need. And then they put in their nickname. I'm just going to put in student name for our purposes here. Again, you would need their real name if you need to match up the data later, and it'll just say, you're in, are you at the front of the room? That's what the student sees on their device. From the front of the room view, this is what's being projected. You can see a game pin. It shows them go to kahoot.it and enter your game pin, and it's waiting for players, and there's 0 players. And there's one that added, and their student name popped up because I've joined as the student named that. So I'll just click Start Now and kind of show you what the activity looks like. So it'll ask if they're ready. It'll show the image you told it to. It'll ask a question. I told it to keep kahoot.it and the pin there. You can choose to do that or not, but it does help kids join if they either get kicked out or late. As things get kicked in, student name is in the lead with 0 points because they got it quote-unquote wrong. I'm just pretending that I'm playing here. You'll also see as I click in that 3 of the options were right. Only 1 was wrong. You can choose how many are right or wrong. And it'll give you charts of how many. There's only 1 person here playing, so it doesn't give you a lot of data. It does show you how many answers right there behind the next, and you just play along, and they're rated. At the end, it'll say who wins, and they just have the most fun. They get to rate it at the end, how much they learned and how they're feeling, which they also like, and that data also is on your spreadsheet. So, it's very interactive. It's got this fun game show music that I have muted for the purpose of this presentation, but they do really enjoy it. So to get started with Kahoot, since that's kind of how a quick snapshot of how it works, you go to getkahoot.com, and I will warn you that kahoot.com is something else. So getkahoot.com, and you just go to the Get My Free Account and type in the obvious info, your role as a teacher, and it'll ask you email and create a password. I'm going to show you my dashboard up here and sign in just so you get an idea of what it looks like. There are options of quiz or survey or discussion. I've not done much with discussion. If I create a quiz, I'll just make it practice quiz. It's real simple. You're just going to hit go and type the question. You can drag an image there, maybe a geometry problem or something else that has an image to it, and type in your answers. You can have any number of the answers be correct. All you have to do is click where it says incorrect, and then that one becomes your correct answer. And you just, down there, it'll say next question. And you just plug away as you add questions. You can also search ones by most plays or most favorites or a topic and find other Kahoots to play. Let's say I search cells, because let's pretend I'm a science teacher. Cell Wars sounds fun. It has 15 people have played it before. And so I could click play, and it'll literally just pull it up. That same scene where after you say launch, where it'll say, here's the pin, and the students go to kahoot.it, and they can join. Under your profile, My Results or All Results, you're going to see the Download Cloud buttons where you can get the data. So pick one, open that data Excel spreadsheet. You're going to have a spreadsheet for each of the questions. Question 1 is a tab, question 2 is a tab. You'll see the right and wrong answers. You'll see the score they got, how many right and wrong, and even the ratings of what they put at the very end. So that's Kahoot in a nutshell. It's very engaging. It's lots of fun. It's great for review games. You can search other people's Kahoots, create your own, and it's free and really fast, easy setup. The next one I'm going to talk about is Socrative or Socrative. I've heard both, and I'm going to go, I guess, with Socrative, but I've heard both pronunciations. Socrative allows the teacher to create a room, sort of a digital room for students to join and answer questions. Like Kahoot, this is a tool that's used all together in class, and there are some advantages and disadvantages for it. Let's see, for Socrative, you also have no setting up of a pre-class roster. So the students are entering their names, which can be a negative if they enter strange things and you can't match them up. You need to address that with them, but you aren't creating everything ahead of time, so it's a trade-off. For a Socrative, as opposed to Kahoot, there's no countdown. You don't get more points for getting the right answer faster. So it's not as gamey and engaging and game show style fun. However, it'd be maybe a more fair way to do a test grade and more fair for some students. I use this more if it's going to be a test versus just sort of a game in class. You can choose teacher-paced, where Kahoot is all teacher-paced, or you could do student-paced, where they're actually taking a test at their own rate. Again, all students need a device. It doesn't have to be the same kind of device, just an internet-capable device. So you just go to Socrative.com, and from there, they have videos, as you can see, that show some more information, and you can click Get Started Now and create your login informations. Back on the main page again, there's a teacher login and student login there, but I'm going to show you Socrative 2.0. It's mostly the same thing, other than it's sort of got a more modern, bold look. They've kind of jazzed it up a little bit. So I'm going to log in and show you what I see as the teacher, and then there's some options. And I'm going to split the screen with the student view. So teacher's on the left, and I have a room number and one student, and student on the right. It's saying waiting for the teacher to start an activity, to do something. You could import a quiz you already have, and I have several options. Let's say I'm going to just ask a quick question. True or false, you're ready for the test tomorrow. As the students answer, as the student clicks true, you can see it jumps up there with true right there. And they submit their answer. So you'd get sort of just an on-the-fly answer and poll of your students. Student-paced is more like a test. All the students have entered their names. The students can enter their name, and you see it popped up on the left. 5 questions, and they just are clicking answers, and you'll see it populate as students answer. So this student's going to click number 4 and jump ahead. And you'll see that it'll populate answer number 4 down there at the bottom ahead of the other one. They skipped one because it's at their pace like a test. They can go back and forth. They also, like Kahoot, it provides a spreadsheet of data when you're done in terms of who got what right and how they did. Next tool is Flubaroo. Flubaroo is a script that is run on a Google form which grades student responses using the teacher's key. Results can then be emailed to students if one of the questions on your form was, what is your email? So, Flubaroo can be taken anywhere at any time. It is asynchronous. One of the advantages is you can do a link to the Google Form quiz as homework or as something they have time to work on over a course of the time. It's not synchronous, everyone in class at once. Students need internet access to fill in a Google form. I often for homework give, one of these Google forms to complete after watching a flipped video, but I do give more than one night, so students without access have time to come see me and the computers in the classroom at lunch or go to the media center before or after school so that they have a chance to get the questions done since they do need access to be able to do it. So Flubaroo.com, and they have a 3-minute video that'll explain it in even more detail than I'm going to go through in the overview. And also, if you don't know how to create a Google Form quiz, YouTube is full of tutorials, just creating a Google Form quiz. So if I'm skipping that step for you, spend some time and that'll explain that. Make sure you're logged into Google Drive to use Flubaroo and choose the spreadsheet in your drive that has the data the students have already done the quiz and you want to score that information. So here's one. Let's pretend I'm scoring. So I would go to Tools and Script Gallery. Tools Script Gallery will pull up in any spreadsheet of data that they've completed. And I search for Flubaroo, Flubaroo, and install, and continue from there and accept the next box you accept. Once you've done that, Flubaroo, it says installed, so I can get out of here, will be an option. You'll see it pop up right there, and I can go grade assignment. And what it asks you to do for grading step 1 is it's going to give you the questions that you've asked them on the form and ask how many points is it worth, or is it something like, does it identify the student? When you ask their first name, last name, and email address, that identifies the student. The next thing is it wants to know which one's the key, because it doesn't know. So you'll have to, sometimes I put my name in capital letters to find it easily. Pick the key and say grade it, view grades. And again, it gives you that same familiar spreadsheet of data. The overview of the data at the top, percents right for each student, which ones they put, percentage for each question right at the bottom. Under add-ons, Flubaroo, view reports. You can see some reports for different parts of the data. Also under add-on, under that is Flubaroo is where you'll see email grades, which it can do if you made your email address one of the questions. Include answer key or not, you can include a message, and it'll email that if they enter their email correctly. I teach middle schoolers, and that's not always an obvious step for 100%. Next tool, Plickers, which literally stands for paper clickers. This is a system that allows data collection from students without them having to have a technology device each. I will preface this with I have no personal experience with Plickers because I have an e-instruction clicker set in my classroom, but it seemed like a great option if having a device like BYOD, bring your own device, and labs and those kind of things were not a great option for some people in their classroom. So I wanted to include it and let people know about it because their advantage being only the teacher needs the device, the laptop, the iPad. There is something to be said, though, for devices, battery-free clickers, because with my clicker set, someone's in the middle of a test, the clickers, one runs out of batteries, it can be a problem. So there is something to be said for that. There is some setup ahead of time. You must print the Plickers, set up the classes, tell it in class period number 1, clicker number 12 is Janie. I mean, you are setting all that up so it knows what to read ahead. So at Plickers.com, it's an app you can download for iOS or Android, and it does explain some of the advantages and disadvantages right on their site. I watched the video that they had there to show how it worked, and I'll be honest, I didn't find it very helpful. I'll show you what I mean. It shows the teacher with the laptop. They all flash their Plickers, and it shows the data at the front, but I didn't really get what was reading it. So I found another video on YouTube where it's showing an iPad, a teacher actually using an iPad, scanning the students and showing what they're seeing. I found that video a little more helpful, so I'm showing you what I found to be a little more helpful. It's just got the data of which clicker and who has what. Again, YouTube, when I searched Plicker tutorial or Plickers, there were some more videos about it, and I wish I could give you more on the how-to end. I've just not used them. This is an image of a Plicker. You can see the A, B, C, D on the perimeter, and as I understand it, if they hold it C side up, that right-hand side up, it's saying the Plicker that's like that QR code symbol is read as a C, and it's just assigned to those students. So it could be a really good option for collecting this kind of data if you are in a situation where getting one-to-one or even two-to-one devices just isn't practical. Mastery Connect is a cloud-based software platform which allows teachers to track student mastery of both state and Common Core standards. Mastery Connect is a very inclusive, has more features than these others that we've looked at. It's like the assessment capacity we've talked about with a Facebook community element and Pinterest pins built in and various other things. So Mastery Connect, you can share, collaborate, and plan with PLCs and colleagues from all over the world or the country, sharing different assessments that target certain standards. Again, includes assessments, pins, and more. I'll show you on my dashboard. The free version only allows students to have assessments up to 10 questions. I found this out the hard way. I made a 35-question unit test and could not engage it because I did not have the paid plan. So just be aware of that. So you go to their website here, and they have multiple videos down here that explain many things in a lot more detail. For more information. And you would simply go to the Join Free button right there if you were going to set up an account. But I said I'd show you my dashboard just to give you sort of a general idea of what it does. So let me do that. The first thing I open to is my feed. It's kind of like your Facebook feed if you're familiar. It's materials posted by people that I follow. And just sort of a wall of things. The first thing I'll click is Mastery Tracker. They're my class periods and their results in there, which I don't want to click and show my actual student results, but that's what's in there from all of the assessments. Common assessments is the next tab, and these would be assessments that either I have shared with someone has shared with me. You can again see that it can be connected to a certain standard. Resource pins is the Pinterest section. People have pinned images of all kinds of resources there. Learning communities where you decide who to follow, as I mentioned before. I might search, let's say 6th grade, language arts, because that's what I teach. And when I pull that up, it'll say who else is in that range, and I can see how many followers they have and if I want to follow them or not. So within the Mastery Connect, students can take the assessments on an app, or they can also take it on an old-fashioned bubble sheet. They get a 6-digit number, and they can answer it there. There's the 10 questions that you can do for free. Some teachers I know have put the students' numbers there and bubbled them in and laminated that sheet and then used vis-a-vis pens for their regular 10-question quizzes that go into Mastery Connect, and they can make the same assessments they share with the community, and that really works for them. For All Rubrics, love them, fantastic. It enables teachers to create and use rubrics on computers and tablets. When, assessment in the classroom goes beyond A, B, C, D, but it still makes it so much simpler Just love this tool. You click the criteria and the scores are automatically computed. The rubric comes up, you click how they did in each little cell, and then the grade is there. It drastically cuts down teachers' assessment time on things with rubrics. When my students are presenting, I just have the iPad out and I'm just clicking away, and my scoring is done before they walk out the door. Students can log in if you give them a login and see the results. You can also print it and give them the paper rubric if you don't want to create a login for them, but you can do that. That's an option. There is some setup. However, that setup time that you put in is very worth it in my opinion. So forallrubrics.com. Forallrubrics.com is the website, and they have information there too on how to get started. There's the blog right there next to the login that if you click has more information in all kinds of detail than I'm going to go into here. And they have information on this new concept of badges, which I've not done anything with, I'll be honest. You can award badges, but I've not done anything with that. But lots of information and screenshots on how to do things. If I log into my dashboard, again, just so you can see what it looks like. Right off the bat, lots of ways to get more information on how to do things. How-tos, videos over there to the right, screenshots on how to do things. They're really very helpful. If I go to Admin, up in the top right-hand corner, next to Log Out, and under that, Manage Students, I can enter class name here. Anything with that dotted line under it, you can change the name of. It allows you to import a roster, and there are ways to do that. You just have a sample file, paste them from your gradebook, and they'll import them all. Or you can add one student at a time, either way. 5-digit number, and I'm making up somebody. Annie Anderson, we'll pretend. Okay, save. She's in my pretend third period class. All right, if I wanted to create a login so she can log in and see her rubrics instead of me printing them, I need her email address, which again I'm making up, so that they are logging with her email and you're creating a password. If your school already issues email and maybe passwords through the media center or something like that, this would be real easy to just do the same so it's not something different. So we'll say I'm done, and let's say I'm going to assess her. I'm going to click the plus button, and when I do, the last rubric I used will pop up. It'll assume that's the one I want. Let's see. So I've got a 7654 instead of the 4321 because I wanted all sixes to equal an 85 and all fours to equal a 60. So I kind of did the math on that. So she did this well on the coding and annotation. Her response wasn't as good, but fine. And so just clicking those buttons on the rubric, and I know she has a 95. It's so much faster to go through a class as you're looking and do that. Print results or email results, again, if you've entered those email addresses, it can do that. And if you need to design a new rubric, design, let's see, new rubric. It's got the ones I've used before. Rubric title, anything with a double dotted, the little blue dotted line can be renamed. So just depending on what it is that you're going to work on. Let's say a tech project's coming up and you're going to name it that. And then all the stated objectives and the description of the beginning, developing, accomplished, and exemplary levels, deciding how many points each are. You can also change the color coding and how many everything has. One tool I want to mention along with For All Rubrics, it's not connected in any way, but I use it when doing just that, creating that rubric, is this Rubistar, rubistar.4teachers.org. That's the number 4teachers.org. This is a great tool for just generating the levels of a rubric, those criteria. I often use these two in tandem. I have like two windows open. Rubistar helps me get the language for my rubric, and I paste it into For All Rubrics for its functionality that we discussed. Final tool, one of my favorites, Class Charts. It is the seating chart data management system you have always wanted. It just easily creates those individual and classroom behavior data that helps you analyze students, classes, be able to share with administrators or parents as appropriate. Love class charts. There are these amazing data reports that you can see at a glance. It's really simple to use. Parents and students can log in and view their data if you choose to provide them with a login to view the data related to their student. If it's the free account, though, there is some setup required. Paid larger school accounts can import directly from the large systems like Pearson's Power School, importing the student images for their picture and all of the testing data that's in there and everything. For free, there is some setup, but it is still worth it. So, classcharts.com, and you just go to sign up and walk through the obvious. If I log in, I'll log in so you can see my dashboard. I'm going to click a class and show you just how easy it is to move students. You just literally move them around the seating arrangement that the orange boxes represent and put them anywhere that you want. You can click attendance, and all the students are green and present until you click who is absent. If you close that and then go to random pupil, it will choose a random pupil knowing who's absent and not picking them. Here's a student that randomly picked, and you can do a thumb up to how he answered, down, or I love this middle option. He almost answered it correctly. You can also put notes there if you want. The next thing to do, you could rearrange your pupils. Maybe I want the behavior scores they have to be differentiated and their reading age, because I don't want those groups to be too close together. On the left, you see optimized seating chart, so it'll rearrange them at my seating chart. But maybe instead today I want it to make groups. It'll say, do you want this many groups of this many peers based on today? Sure, make the groups. Again, you'll see it kept the absent students down and made the groups based on that information. If I return to the class setup again, let's say this student did a great job. I could click on her and say good work and add a note. She had a great presentation, so I'm going to add that note to little Ruth here. But these two marked two students at once. The boy who was called on and the boy and the child next to him, they've been chatty ever since he got it wrong. They thought it was just too funny, so I'm going to mark chatty. That pen right there allows you to customize your behaviors, that little pencil icon. So you can customize these to anything you want. Let's say I want that instead, that balloon to be just that it's really been a good day in general, an excellent day. And you'll see once I customize it, it pops up and I can remove it if I want to. Same thing with the negative behaviors. You'll see that gum one there is one I actually added. It's not a default one, but I got tired of telling the same people about gum and I wanted data on it. If I go to rooms, these are like the room layouts, and you can add different arrangements. And you just title it something to reference that physical arrangement of the room. And you can either tell it a grid of charts, or this way I'm saying to customize the layout by hand drawing it. So, I want 4 there and 2 there, and I can just physically draw it. From there, I can create a class with that setup, or I can go back to the room arrangements and look at my options of the different setups I have. Let's see, back to classes. Under the reports button that they all have, it's blue. Parent account information is right there. It'll just give you a document, a PDF, that'll let you know about how to log in, and you can hand those out if you want them to be a login. I could look at data for this week, or maybe I want to look at data for a customized set of dates, the quarter, or since the last field trip, or whatever range of dates. So you can do that too. The attendance, I only took attendance one day there is at the bottom, but it would keep the whole time there for you. So when you're in those meetings and you want to be able to reference exactly what's going on, whether it's with the class as a whole or a student, it's just, it's really effortless and brilliant. It keeps that data that we're supposed to be keeping on every student, and it seems impossible. It makes it possible. So those are the tools: Kahoot, Socrative, Flubaroo, Plickers, Mastery Connect, For All Rubrics, and Class Charts. I know I went through them quickly, but luckily you can rewind or pause or fast forward ones you're not interested in. If you have any questions or comments on how you plan to use the tool or have used it in the past, or have a great tool I missed, please hit up the comments section. I really hope this video is helpful, and thanks so much for watching.